Hello, everyone. I'm Peaceful Nick, the medium. I have an exciting announcement to make. I'm giving away 4 readings for April, thanks to a wonderful and generous donor. I will be giving away the 4 readings. If you comment here on this live stream or on the replay, please comment below if you are interested in winning a free reading. Comment below. The drawing will be held in the next 48 hours. And thank you very much. Hello, Aunt Jen. How are you,
Hello.
darling?
I'm well, and you?
I am well. Hi, Vivian. Speaking of the generous donor. Hi, Holly. Um, Aunt Jen, you have anything coming up? What have you been working on?
The only thing that came to my mind right this second was that just a couple days ago, a little shout out, was my mom's birthday.
Happy birthday, Mama.
She's a super fan. So she's always been there supporting me. And so just a big shout out. Happy birthday to you. I can't wait to celebrate with you. And no, just exciting, having a great time over here, doing my thing, working with clients, working with myself. That's my number one client.
Yes, self-love, self-healing. Exactly. That is wonderful. I have several other announcements if you don't mind.
Please
I
announce.
will. Thank you. I will be on Linda G this Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. I'm very excited. I cannot wait to have a conversation with her. It's been a couple months since we've chatted. It's always wonderful to be on Linda G's show. So I'm so happy to be joining Linda G. I forgot to add my Facebookie, as always. And what else? I just opened some dates for the rest of April and going into May for readings, for spiritual guidance readings and for mediumship readings. I will tell everyone that my summer readings will be extraordinarily limited. I'm teaching 2 summer classes at the college. I'm running the Mars competition over the summer. So I will probably do less than 5 readings a month for June and July. So if you want a reading before then, book them as soon as possible. I have a feeling after I'm on Linda G's, those are going to fill up pretty quick. Today is the full moon. And not only is it the full moon,
Tell us.
I'm going to cry. The Artemis 2 mission is loaded up and ready to send astronauts to the moon today. First time they've sent people to the moon since 1972. So they will not be landing on the moon. It will be a flyby, a big orbit. It is scheduled. The window is scheduled for 6:24 p.m. Eastern today, and I can see it from my house, by the way.
That's like, you look at the world and honestly, those types of things, I just have to say for a moment, like those types of things definitely bring me to a space of like how everything happens the way it's supposed to, and how like you might be on a path and then you're not sure, and then something takes place and you're like, wait a second. Because for you to be able to be in this path,
the way you've known me,
yes, anyone that knows you as well as they know you would know, like that's like gold to you. Like, so that's so exciting for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I want to say hi to Holly and Donna. Welcome in, Donna. Donna says she loves our show. Thank you. We're going to get into it. I'm so excited. And Vivian said, take good care of yourself. I am doing my best, Vivian. I'm trying to schedule myself out to where I have breaks. And it doesn't, it adds to my schedule in a glorious way because I had my 1-year-old granddaughter's birthday last weekend. So I had to go to Savannah for that, which was incredible. And she's so amazing. I have a brand new granddaughter over by Tampa that we've been bouncing back and forth for that as well. And so that it's very exciting, very wonderful. I'm thrilled to be a grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also adding to the happiness and joy in my life. The other thing is, I'm so excited. So if you can watch the launch online, if you're not in Florida or along the Space Coast, even in Savannah, you can see them launch. But it's just a little tiny little orange ball. Here I can like really, really see it because I'm not far from the launch. If you can watch it online, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty historical that we're finally sending people back to the moon. Today's the launch window. It's not, if something goes wrong, they won't launch, obviously, but today it starts at 6:24, so Eastern. And then I want to give a special, I want to say a couple of special words about my mother who passed.
Please do.
40 years ago today, April 1st, 1986, kind of a strange day to die on, right? Because it's April Fool's and it's kind of a day everybody makes jokes about. But today at 10 p.m. Central Time, she passed away 40 years ago. She was a loving and kind woman. She was also a woman that battled a lot of demons in her life. And probably why I'm a psychic medium, because she had some powers and abilities that, but didn't get to come to fruition because she was only 40 when she passed away. And so I just want to honor her today. And because of her death, and I know this sounds crazy every time I say it, I wouldn't have the life I have without her passing. And I knew that when it happened. And, you know, someone said to me on my Soul Twin Stars podcast, people grieve more deeply because they don't know the why. And I thought it really struck me that the why, I knew it immediately when she died. And so I didn't have the grief that other people would have. It was my grief was different. I had it. It just wasn't in the same way other people would have it. So I just want to honor Nancy today.
Yes, because we would have never met.
We would have never met. We met like a month after she died.
Yep.
So it's our anniversary too.
Yes, but to Nancy. So we gave a little shout outs to our moms today.
Yeah.
It's a mom shout out.
Dale and Nancy.
That's right.
Brought us where we are.
Very true.
And I'm so excited. Thank you, Holly. Okay. Aunt Jen.
Yes.
You want to talk about the moon?
I love the moon. I love the moon.
I love it too.
I do. There's many reasons. I'm just going to bring a few of them out real quick, and then we'll move. And, you know, there's so many different directions to be able to go. But I enjoy the moon. I'm going to give 3 that I can think of right off the top of my head.
Go for it.
Because it is connected to the feminine energy. So I really enjoy that piece of it. I love how the moon is connected to the circadian rhythms in the ocean, and how that is such a powerful piece. And then I think the piece that I really enjoy the most about the moon is how it goes in cycles. So yes, we're in the full moon right now. So you're going to be feeling, you know, it's also connected to emotions. The moon is connected to our emotional state. So it's a great time when you're when you get to the fullness of the moon, to be able to release what's no longer serving you. And I love all of the cycles of the moon throughout all the days, and how they have the different pieces of the moon, all of it. Like, so there's actually a phase that takes place, not saying that the moon is more powerful than the sun, but the sun comes up and shines the same way, whether or not the clouds are there, right? The sun is still coming up at its full exposure, whereas the moon is actually coming up in phases based on the time. And so just the connection with that, with regards to your own self, of like being able to connect in with the moon and on the moon cycles. I mean, we all know women, we have things and they call it a moon cycle. So, I mean, I like the cycle of the moon and all of its beautiful, beautiful benefits that the moon offers. So yeah, I'm a full fan of the moon. It is raining where I'm at. So yeah, so we didn't get to do what we wanted to do, which is really okay. We cannot put all of our crystals out. Some of them do not do well in water.
Mhm.
And we don't get to see the moon like I wanted to. And, you just work with it. It's just because you can't visually see something doesn't mean energetically it's not taking place, which that is another piece of the moon that I enjoy, because we think that something has to be seen in order for it to have its power, when I don't necessarily believe that personally myself. I
Mhm.
believe the power can be there without the evidence of actually seeing it. So the cycles of the moon, I mean, I would have to say that my first, love for the moon, or openness, I would say that's a better word. My openness to the moon came from you.
Mm.
Mars, we know, okay? Mars is like, the moon is one thing. Mars is like, that is her, like, you could tattoo that on her, Mars, right?
That's my baby.
But the moon is also something that you were very big on, very into. And so I learned the way I was able to learn the back roads of the moon and all the different things. My introduction was from you. So thank
Mm.
you for that.
Thank
And
you for
I
that.
know we've talked about the moon so many different times in so many different ways for our own kind of what we enjoy with regards to the moon.
We had a moon poster in our apartment when we were roommates.
We did.
And it had the picture of the front of the moon and the far side of the moon, which many people call a little science lesson for those nerds out there.
I was hoping you'd give us a little bit of a science lesson
Of
today.
course. Of course. So people call the back side of the moon the dark side of the moon, but it is not dark. The dark side of the moon is actually the far side of the moon. And the reason is, when we have a new moon here, the back side of the moon is a full moon. So if you were out in space, you would see it completely lit. So technically, all of the moon gets lit by the sun. It's always halfway lit. The other half is dark. And so when it's new here, it's full on the backside. Like right now, it's full. We can see it. And if anybody wants to see pictures of the moon all the time, watch my Instagram and Facebook stories, because I have an unhealthy number of them. I took like 50 last night.
I can't wait to see them, since I'm not seeing it myself. I appreciate it.
So so we see the full moon right now, but now the back half of the moon is dark. So it is a dark side of the moon today. But as the moon shrinks to a waning gibbous over the next few days, the back side of the moon will become a crescent. So the light is fully lit all the time on half the moon. We just see it at an angle, and that's why it changes.
I love that.
So if anybody wants, I could get my board out and draw all this stuff, but I don't think
she could. By the way, we could do that for you. You just let us know.
Okay.
And we will definitely do that. And then I'll add some commentary.
I love the moon, and I love that the full moon is on April Fool's Day this year. And I love that the moon launch is scheduled for today as well. And that it is the 40th anniversary of my mother's passing. And I've created a life that I never imagined when I was a little girl, with a single mother with 5 kids and all the drama that came with that. I never imagined having the life I have. Let me restate that. I never imagined it was possible for me to break the cycle. I imagined I wanted this life, but I didn't think it was possible.
That's I can concur.
And a lot of people, I think, feel that way.
Yeah. And the moon can help.
Yeah.
Because the moon has a cycle every month, and there's always a purge that can take place every month, and we're always feeling full. Like, I know, when I think that was another thing, is that when I became more interconnected with the moon and myself, I saw how connected I actually was with the moon, and how I was working with it, not against it, and then bringing more into myself to continue to work with the moon. But it was always kind of like, oh, that makes sense. Well, you're kind of the same thing as, like, I don't know about anybody else, but, a few days before I would have my moon cycle come and join me, like, I was usually character. And so after it would always take place, it was always a very like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So it's like finding those things that make sense, at least for me, I
Yeah.
find comfort in
Yeah.
them. I also really find comfort when I'm attempting to do something for myself in a beneficial way, and that the universe and the is actually aligning with me. And so what I mean by that is like having things feel so full to be able to release. Now is a great time to be like, okay, what do I want to release right now? What am I willing to let go of that's no longer serving me? And then having the fact be that it comes every single month. So if you miss it, or if something takes place, right? It's not like there's nothing that's kind of even done, and there's no wrongness in anything, but you have another opportunity to align with the moon and its fullness and all the cycles of the moon. And what can I tap into that will just help me on my journey? It's really
Exactly. It's perfect, especially for April Fool's Day, because even though it's not like a technical holiday, there's energy around what we create.
yes.
And April Fool's energy has the energy has been created by humans. Now, I don't know if other countries celebrate April Fool's Day. We do in the United States, if you're watching from somewhere else. But we've created this energy around it. And it's great for releasing illusions, releasing our attachment to our ego, letting go of things we deceive ourselves over. And I love that and also letting go of things that don't align with us.
Mm.
We all have people, jobs, situations, different things in our lives that aren't aligning with us anymore as we grow. And I love that you said it's a cycle. And so if you miss it this month, it'll come back next month. It's okay. Everything doesn't have to happen right now.
No, the awareness again, right? The awareness of being like, oh, the full, like that's where mine started, was just the awareness of like, oh, it was a full moon. Oh, that explains my inner. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, just kind of putting it together. And so I think that the awareness is your first step within yourself. Compassionately inquiring, like, ooh, what does that mean? Ooh, how does that affect me? Ooh, what could that possibly be? So it's like there's all the cycles of the moon. We're just technically on the full moon right now. And the full moon is a very powerful moon, but I believe all the phases have something to offer.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And
Yeah.
so it's like, it just happened to be the discussion was on the full moon. So we'll talk about the full moon, but the topic is really the moon, moon, the feminine energy from the moon. I mean, that's where we get the feminine energy from. Right. So it's like, there's so many different things that like show us even to just be interconnected, right? Of remembering, because right now we're the world, there's a lot going on, right? We could say that every time we talk. And it's like, okay, what can we do? At least that's what you and I talk about. Like, it's like, okay, what can we do to be able to have a topic or something to bring that may change the energy, that may bring a tool? And that's really what it is. What kind of tools can we provide? And so the tool right now is, the moon. The moon is out there. It's free. I mean, free stuff is lovely. And it doesn't, it's between you. It's a personal relationship that you can start to capture, that you can start to feel if there's something that's going on with you with regards to the moon. There's so many rabbit holes out there that you can go down to find this and that with it, for whatever it looks like, and seeing what resonates with you. But it's compassionately inquiring and being inquisitive, like curious about like, I wonder how that affects me. How does the moon affect me? I'm not really sure. So you know what? After this discussion I've just heard, I think I'm going to pay attention. I'm just going to start to slowly pay attention, seeing if the moon maybe has any kind of impact. And maybe nothing will ever happen. Maybe you won't ever do anything. Maybe every month when the full moon comes, you're like, oh my God, that's right. I said I was going to, like, you're at least starting the process. You're interrupting the pattern of your usual flow. So you're going somewhere, but it's like, we're just bringing some tools, and the moon happens to be one that can be very, very powerful. And it's available to all of us, whether it's raining or not.
Yes, it's there, whether it's raining or not. And Vivian said, love to your mom. I'm sure she's helping you from the higher realm. Yes, I believe that from the moment she passed. And she said, I'm just like the moon. Half of me is always in the dark side.
That's good.
I think that is true for many people. And I know Aunt Jen and I have have had many experiences where we've been half in the light and half in the dark because we're humans, right? And humans aren't these perfect beings they put out on social media. I've never claimed to be perfect. I'm human. I've made mistakes. I have a light and a dark side, and I have a crazy sense of humor that, I try to keep that to my
I
soul.
do. And I actually have said, I've heard it and it really resonated with me is I'm a spiritual being having a human experience.
Right.
And honestly, being in this human body is the most challenging part. The spiritual part can be a little bit easier, but being in the human body with all the humanness that happens of like just life can be a lot, especially for someone who is tapped in more on the spiritual side per se. And not saying that's better or worse. It's just that's where your energy kind of flows in that direction. And so, yeah, I mean, it's all a part of it. We're made up of dark and light. And I think that a lot of people have a hard time, myself included, at times, like embracing the dark. And what does that mean? And, putting so much on it that like, no, I'm trying to hide that from yourself, let alone other people, and thinking that you're trying to be something else when it's like, no, we're all made up of light and dark. And if we could just own our darkness.
Right. And not try to hide it.
Yeah. Of what that may be, of what it looks like to someone else is dark, then at least you're starting with yourself. So that, it's great to know that and talk about that with you and just be honest with yourself is like the first step. And that changes. Your honesty kind of expands at times when, depending on where you're at within your own process of yourself. Sometimes you can be a little more honest with yourself and sometimes you lying.
Right. Right. And, Lily said, please explain this. Yes. Lily, we were talking and not paying attention. So can you, we do that.
We do, Lily.
We'll blab and blab and blab. Can you ask what part you want explained, please? That would be great. I also want to give a little bit of information about astrology versus astronomy and how astrology and astronomy were one science back in the day. They were not two different things. And astro, star, ology, study of. So astrology is actually what we should call astronomy, the science of astronomy. Astrology is the word like biology, geology, physiology. Those are the study of. So astrology is actually what astronomy should be called, but they had to come up with a different word because they were once one science. So astrology and astronomy started together. The study of the moon, the study of the planets, the study of the stars was all one thing. And to any materialist scientist who may be watching this years into the future or tomorrow or whatever, I will say that if you believe that the moon can affect the tides of the earth, but you do not believe it can change the mood or energy of a human, you are fooling yourself because we are 70% water, 75% water, humans. And if the moon can move the tides of the earth, why wouldn't it affect us? Even if it's a millimeter, of a shift in our brain, it's going to affect us. So astrology and astronomy were once one. And I do believe the shifts and the motions of what's happening out there does affect us because we came from space. We are literally all made of exploded stars. Literally, that is a scientific fact. So why wouldn't it affect us? I could just go on about that for 27 hours. Lily said, could you explain the situation of the first moon landing and the discrepancy of the lighting on the moon? I'm so glad you asked. I can't explain.
He is definitely excited that you asked that question, Lily.
I am.
Please, Nicole,
so
tell us.
The moon landings absolutely happened in 1969 to 72. There were 6 landings of the moon by 12 human men. And the other 6 men stayed up in the capsule so they, could monitor, et cetera, et cetera. The lighting looks so weird because we have an atmosphere. Earth has an atmosphere. Light travels through our atmosphere differently than it does without an atmosphere. Okay. If you put a glass of ice water on a table and you put a straw in it, the straw looks different through the water, through the glass, and through the air. Okay. Light does. That's because of the light going through. We have an atmosphere. The moon does not have an atmosphere. So also, the sun was shining on the moon in parts when the astronauts were there, and at some points, because there were different missions and different times and blah blah blah. So the sun was shining, no atmosphere. So it just acts very differently when there's no air. Plus, the astronauts had lights. They had lights on the spacecraft, on their suits. They also had lights. So light shines very differently without an atmosphere. They were essentially in the vacuum of space, and light behaves very differently. That is why there is a discrepancy of the lighting on the moon versus the same situation that would happen, let's say, in a studio in Hollywood, which is what some people think. Light acts differently. You can't replicate it well, you couldn't in the 60s probably. You could do it with AI now. You can't replicate what they saw in a studio in 1969 versus what was really happening on the moon. So, and the moon launch was not fake. Hi, Gina. The moon, we went to the moon. You can go, if you had your own spaceship, you could go look at the stuff that's on the moon. It's there. Because people think, well, they could fake everything. Yeah, they could. But there's something called LRO, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, that has taken like millions of pictures of the moon, and you can actually see the things from the Apollo missions on the moon. And if you have a laser and a telescope, you can actually point your laser at the Sea of Tranquility on the moon, and you can measure the time the laser beam bounces back, and because they left mirror reflectors on the Sea of Tranquility on the moon. So you can actually do the experiment yourself.
Whoa.
So
very informative. Very.
That's what I do.
I know, it just comes out like, like if you had asked me that question, like,
it's all in there.
I know it is. Thank goodness. I'm so grateful.
I double clicked that file that was back here.
There you go. There you go.
Opened up. So
love it. Great question.
Thank you, Lily. I hope that cleared up the light situation for you. So I love the moon. I have a million pictures of the moon. I can search my phone and type in moon, and a billion pictures pop up.
So. I love the moon too. I love what it brings. I really love the full moon for being able to release what no longer serves me.
Oh,
I love getting in line with that because it just helps. It's like a purge, right? We all need to right? Spring cleaning. Like, I mean,
I was doing that before we went live. I was mopping all the floors and vacuuming everything.
That sounds wonderful.
It's the day to do that. The ritual. Sorry, I got excited. Can you tell us about any letting go rituals, releasing, purging, journaling? What would you suggest to people who are in a moment, maybe? And if you're not watching this on April 1st, 2026, it's okay. It can be April 20th or May 58th or whatever. It doesn't have to be a full moon. But if it happens to be a full moon, what type of rituals and letting go ceremonies and moon water, what types of things do you suggest people do?
Well, there's so many. So I think the first thing is to really, see what resonates with you, like seeing what kind of vibes with you. I think that a lot of times too, I know that I did when I was first on this path of like thinking there was a right way or a wrong way to do something.
Right.
And then this teacher, I mean, like we can see what's kind of going on out there in the world with these different teachers that have been there that have having like, and it's like I've always been involved and listened to a lot of these teachers, yet I had my own self the whole time. And so I would take what served me and leave what didn't. That's why I'm very open. Personally, I'm very open to all teachers that are out there, because I'm going to find what works for me and what doesn't, and take that piece. So I think the first thing is that there's no right or wrong. Like, you gotta, the people will say, like, you gotta do it this way. You have to, it's like, that's a lot of pressure. And like,
Right.
I don't do well with that kind of pressure to begin
Yes.
with. So yes, there are right and wrong ways. I'm not going to be the right person to tell you that, because that's just not how I do things. So I'm not always consistent either. Like, so, I mean, I think that's important to, say about myself. I'm totally okay with that. When I am aligned, I do like moon water. There's a lot of power between the moon water. And that's just literally taking an apparatus. I happen to use a very large mason jar, and I put water in it, and then I leave it out there with the moon with the intention of being able to get the energy that's being given to me through the moon. So each full moon also offers something very different. Just like right now, I believe it's the pink full moon. And so there's certain moons that are going on where you might not want to collect moon water, and you might not want to, put things out to charge, like crystals. Crystals get very cleansed and charged either through salt or through the moon. They can get really very empowered, and they can be cleansed. I really like to do that. However, like I said, there are definitely certain crystals that don't like water. So I will stay away from that, right? I had a whole intention. I think we talked about last week. If, I was getting excited, I had a whole thing I was going to do. And then I looked and I was like, ooh, that's not going to work. Like, the rain is coming. You're not going to be able to do all the same things that you wanted to. How can you make that work for yourself without putting so much pressure on yourself of it has to look like this? So I enjoy that. I enjoy writing, and you could write like a lot. I mean, that's where it is also an individual thing, right? Maybe you have a lot that you want to be able to get out. Maybe you just want to be able to be like, I just want to stop being so not present in my life, not being present with people. So I'd like to be able to release that. And so you'll write down maybe, not present, right? I'm trying to be a little bit more present. I'm releasing the fact of not being as present as I'd like to be with people. And then you can do things as far as I've ripped the stuff once I've been done. I've also burned it. Like,
I just wrote that down, right? Burn ritual.
Yes. So I actually have a burn bowl that looks like a little cauldron. And that's what I will burn in, because I feel safer with that. I'm being safe, Mom, I promise. And so out on my porch, so there's different things that you can do with regards to that, but it's really about like, what are you willing to release? What are you willing to be able to see if you can let go of right now with what's happening? That's a ritual that I do. I also do rituals, or I'm not sure if it's a ritual or it's just an awareness about that. A lot of times when it is the full moon, my emotions are very heightened, meaning I feel way more than maybe it really applies in a certain area. And so I will just go ahead, and I can call it a ritual. I will make sure that if it's appropriate and I can do it, that I take that off my calendar. And I spend a little more time with myself during that time at the end, when it's being able to happen in those places of knowing that my emotions are on a heightened, and I'm not trying to torch the village. I'm just trying to go ahead and be. I also really enjoy, I just did it last night, and I'll do it again tonight. I enjoy a bath, a moon ritual bath with salts and oils and different things that you're releasing and you're calling in. So it's like, it is a release, but it's also kind of calling in. So it's important, at least from my understanding and my impression, it's not about being like, okay, I want to be more aware. It's like calling yourself out on the not awareness, and then having the openness to be more aware. But you're really setting up for what the full moon, because the new moon means something different, but the full moon is, what am I wanting to release? And so those are just a few things that you can do to see what happens. Like I said, I know there's tons of them out there. There's also, I want to say it was on the full moon, because we're talking about, my mom used to do it. She would light a white candle and a black candle. to be able to bring in, be bringing in the light and bringing in the, so it's like she was always in tune too, doing it in her own sort of a way. So, I mean, you can always be doing things like that. But again, I think that the biggest thing I would say, especially if you're in the beginning of your journey, there is no right way. Like, don't, like when someone says, this is exactly what you have to do, and this is exactly what you have to say. I mean, they've done so many different things about like, this is how it has to be done. And these are the words. And it's like, I mean, there could be some truth to that. And that's a lot of pressure on someone when you're just having your own relationship with the moon, your own, like, you know, even that could be something, is setting an intention. I mean, how do you do that? Like, I set an intention with the moon, like trying to be more connected with the moon, open to the moon and the moon's messaging. So those can be some things to start with regards to yourself, with regards to releasing. But I like releasing. I think releasing and cleansing can be a very powerful thing. And one more, because it just came to my head right away, was, which I think is also really great just in general, is, you know, to shake it off. Dancing, shaking off, getting it out of the body, whatever that may be. And so maybe you start
It gets stuck. Maybe gets stuck.
We can talk. I mean, that's definitely my journey right now, is working with the body to move the trauma, to get more with the nervous system. Like, it's all a process. But you could even set yourself an intention of every full moon, you're just going to dance under the moonlight and release whatever is going on, and just say it out loud. And like, I mean, that's great. Like, you know, it all, again, you can't do it wrong. I don't believe.
Right. And I want to say, when you said just now, you can't do it wrong, but earlier you said something about there are no strict rules. I love that, because I teach my mediumship students. I think some of my mediumship students might think, how come you're not giving me more rules? Well, because the rules are do no harm, be ethical, have a good intention. The rest of it is learning how it works for you.
Yes.
And that's with everything.
Yes.
Even as an astronomy professor or a classroom teacher, there are certain rules you have to follow. Obviously, be kind to each other and don't stab your neighbor with a knife in the classroom, right? Like, that's a rule I'm going to stick to. But everything else is kind of malleable, and everybody learns in their own way. And when you're trying to do a moon ritual, if you forgot the pink crystal and you brought the red crystal, it's not going to be the end of the world, right? It's not going to, your intention and the energy that you're putting out is the most important. So I love that you said that.
That's probably my number one thing, honestly. Like, it's kind of, you know, working on, you know, that we're always worried about what it looks like. And it's like, no, don't worry about what it looks like. Someone's literally sharing, even, it just depends on how they're sharing the information. But I mean, I always look at it as they're sharing the information to see how it resonates with me, and I'm going to take my pieces of it. But it took a long time. I mean, in the very beginning, you know, decades ago, when I was first starting this path, I mean, I thought I had to do it this way and had to look like this. And this is what, I mean, I had to sit this way to meditate. And like, it's like, no, hold on a second. So everything got debunked of being like, wait a second. Yes, those are true. But more than one thing can be true at the same time.
Right.
So,
2 things can be true.
Yes. And
5 things can be true. 10 things.
Yes. And I think that, you know, it's very interesting, where maybe that's another topic that we talk about sometimes, because I think that sometimes also causes so much conflict within people when we're trying to resolve things, because, well, this is what I'm saying, it's right. And this person, this is wrong. And it's, again, showing that it's like, you both can be right at the same time. You both can be valid and be right. But a lot of times, like, there can be truth in that. And so people always have to look at it, the right and the wrong, which I don't really like those words anyway.
I agree.
I really don't. Right, wrong, good, or bad. I mean, I'm not saying I don't use them, but I catch myself when I use them regularly, because what it really is that it's truth. It's not about right or wrong. This is my truth. That's your truth. Right. And so it's like they both can coexist together. But I think at least the way that I've viewed the world is like, that's not what we were taught. Like, it was like, no. There's a right way. There's a wrong way. There's a this way. And it's like, yes, that's true. Because I think about like driving. Okay. You have to stop at a red light. Like, I mean, that is true. Like, there are certain things, and like, you know, the yellow light, do you stop? Do you go? Like, you know, that's a very, like, if you look at just even looking at a yellow light, depending on what the intersection's looking like, there's so many different variables that kind of go along. And so I think it's important to really understand that whether or not you're someone who is very into the moon and has all these rituals that you want to share with us, because I want to hear them, or whether it's something that's very new, there is no right way. Is the right way for you. And that's the whole thing about this, is like, at least that's where I'm trying to come from, who Aunt Jen is. I'm trying to be able to give you a place of like, what do you want? How does that look like for you? What does a moon ritual look like for you? What does this look like for you? What does releasing look like for you? And being with yourself until it feels like, oh, I found it.
Right.
Like giving yourself, being like, oh, that didn't work. I didn't like that one. I know that someone recommended this, but that didn't feel like it was aligned with me. Well, then,
Let it go. It
like,
doesn't align with you.
Yeah. Don't do it. Like,
Vivian said, I love staring up at the full moon when the sky is clear and talk to my ancestors. Girl, let me just tell everybody, my neighbors must think I'm crazy because I go outside and I was just staring up at the moon because it was 99% full last night. I'm just staring up at the moon, just I look like a nut out in the street.
You're moonbathing.
I was moonbathing and just like taking in the energy. It's so beautiful. It's so incredible. It's a planetary body. It's a fourth of the size of the Earth. It's a huge, giant world. It's a world. And it's just so incredible that we get to see that beautiful full moon and the craters and just the light, the way it reflects off of it from the sun. Beautiful. It's amazing and just fills me up. And then Vivian said, looking at the stars and the moon just makes my soul smile. Absolutely. Because we are from there. We are from there. We're not from here. We are from the stars, literally, scientifically. That's a fact.
Well, you can't see the stars because of all the lights that are going on. And so once you can get away from something like that, if you ever can, that would be definitely an invitation, is to find a way to be able to go out there and just be with the stars and the darkness. And, if you're in a city, it can be a little more challenging. And, figuring out a way, maybe there's somewhere, if you drive 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you can get a little bit out of the way to be able to see it. That could be a ritual too, of like, getting to the moon to be able to see it, be with it. Like,
everybody can see the moon as long as it's, not too cloudy, but most places aren't fully cloudy 24/7, right? All year. So everybody can see the moon. And it is, I want to tell a funny story. This probably happened in 1989 in the big San Francisco earthquake, but it definitely happened in 1994 in the LA earthquake. All the lights went out and people were calling police departments and reporting UFOs because they could see all the stars and the Milky Way galaxy, and they didn't understand what was happening because there's so much light pollution that they weren't used to seeing what the sky looks like. So I recommend to any person who lives where the sky should look almost gray, because there's so many stars you can see. So I've had the privilege of being in dark sky areas. You and I were in Desert, Missouri for a month at one point, and the sky is almost gray because it's so dark there. You can see almost every star in the universe, right? That's what it seems like. It's just sprinkled everywhere. It's so beautiful. So I highly recommend anybody go somewhere away from a city and look at the sky.
And maybe tonight's the night.
Tonight, the moon will be so bright it kind of dulls it.
Still being out there, right? Being able to start because we're talking about the moon. So like starting with the ritual, yes, it'll be bright, but like, just starting with that. Yeah. And, going when it's not as full on a new moon is going to change and being able to see that now, right? And then going back when it's a new moon and being able to see what that looks like too, because that's a new phase. We're starting a new chapter. And so that is another thing. I've probably already said it, but I'll say it again, is that I really love about the moon is the cycle. It helps to keep me connected with something that I know I'll come out of. If that makes any sense, from like
perfect sense,
from like an ending of something being a lot to being able to release, to being full, to being able to start with a new, right, and the energy of a new. And so that's one of the that's another main reason why I am just really into the moon, is because it's something I can plug into without anybody else, like
Yeah.
being able to be a part of it, or even knowing that this relationship is happening, and being able to keep me on track when like the days go by so much, or like, oh my gosh, it's already April, right? It's like that whole conversations that we have, life's happening so fast. But if I can stay plugged in to the moon cycles, which is generally where that's usually my North Star, of like trying to stay connected and seeing what's happening with the moon cycles, then I can also stay connected with myself on my cycle and see what's going on, whether or not I'm still having a moon cycle or not. I still have a cycle of all the newness to going to the fullness to being able to release. I mean, it happened, then it happens again the next month, guaranteed, no matter what. Like, it's going to happen again. And so you miss it, you can jump right on board and get on all the phases of the moon, that if you study the moon, which Nicole could do a whole class on that for us, which if we, if we talk about stuff before we go on these things, then maybe we'd be more prepared, but we don't. So we're
winging it. We're winging it. Because there are no rules. There's no rules. We do whatever we want.
It'd be fascinating, though, to have the different cycles of the moon kind of be, put up or something, and then being able to find the connection of what's happening during that time of the cycle of the moon. Like, okay, the new moon energy.
Oh, I'm sure there's an infographic out there somewhere. I absolutely guarantee.
Like, I would love that because I've just done it on my own, per se. I've had my own chart, but to be able to see what that is, just to kind of not as a this is the way it has to be, but as a cliff note. I like cliff notes.
I'm going to look up a moon phase astrology infographic and see if I bet one pops up. There you go. There's a million of them. But I want to say, Vivian said something funny, and then I want to talk about humor and the fact that it's April Fool's and humor is healing. And it's so important to keep that in mind. So Vivian said, even stopping at a red light has an exception, obviously. When you are the only one on the road, or the light is broken, or a stop sign, is it really wrong to drive through it? I challenge many rules on earth. So I will say, I'm not promoting anyone break any laws, disclaimer, because there are sometimes people who come out of the blue and go through that light. So be careful and be very aware of your surroundings, because I know someone who passed away doing that because they were hit by a drunk driver when they were going through a light. So please be careful. And so, yeah, humor, though, I know you're being funny, Vivian. Humor is so healing. And part of April Fool's Day, I'm not a big fan of pranks or people surprising me with something
me too.
Silly.
Yeah.
And so I'm not a big fan, since my mom died on April Fool's Day, my family that I created wasn't allowed to ever play pranks on me, because, it was a day for me of reflection and grief. So, however, humor is very important, and that those days are gone. Like, now I don't feel the same way as I used to many years ago about it, but humor is so healing. And I love watching comedies. I love watching stand-up comedians. I love watching funny shows. I love laughing very loud. My husband thinks he's a comedian and thinks he's very funny. Sometimes I don't think he's funny, but he thinks he's funny. And I guess that's what's important, because I think I'm funny. So, I laugh at myself a lot because I think I'm funny.
Yes.
But humor is important. Humor is important. Art is important, and humor is an art form. Anything that gets you out of your analytical mind and away from all the seriousness of the world, to, release and restart a cycle, right? Which is kind of going with the full moon theme here. We want the cycles, we want to release the negativity and embrace the positivity. And humor can allow you to do that. Even if you're going through a very heavy period in your life, even if things seem very dismal and very terrible, you can allow yourself moments of joy and happiness, and it's essential that you do.
And that's also that could be a whole nother topic, for the fact that, I think that I can only speak for my own self, but for a very long time, I had the program that if there was something going on negatively like that, then if I was to laugh or bring myself out of it, then that was totally not keeping that space of whatever was going on. I was doing, like, if I was grieving something, and that's not actually true. And so it doesn't feel true. And so it's like one of those things of being able to, as you evolve with your own healing process, to realize that, like, it is important to add laughter into it. It is important to be able to have a moment with yourself, whatever that may look like, when you're going through whatever you're going through. And that's where people grieve and work through things in a very different way. And a lot of people have a lot of judgment about how that is supposed to look. And so again, there's no right way. So we get to figure that out. And I do agree, though, like we talked about, like laughter. I remember us having a discussion recently about that and how important laughter is. And, maybe today, thinking about what that is, like, I've never really been into April Fools. I've only pulled off one April Fool's prank ever in my life. And other than that, like, I just not really, that's not something that ever works for me. So I'm not trying to, like, trick people or, but, laughter and things it's a form of medicine. I mean, laughter is a form
absolutely.
of medicine. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking up the moon phase meaning.
I thought you were. I was like, where's she looking at?
Yeah. I'm going to share the screen and show everyone.
Okay.
This is a very brief.
That's great.
A brief one. All right. So, and there's ads on the page, of course. Can you guys see it?
Oh,
okay. Of course, there's ads. All right. So here we go. Moon phase meanings: new moon, new beginnings, time for a clean slate, start to gather your thoughts and plan. Waxing crescent, set intentions, send your hopes and desires into the world. First quarter, take action. When you face obstacles, do not waver. Waxing gibbous. Waxing means the moon is growing. Waning means the moon is shrinking. Waxing gibbous moon is refine and hone, observe and align. Full moon, harvest endeavors, a time to harvest the intentions and wishes of past moons. And again, as Aunt Jen said, it's a cycle. If you miss it, come back in a month. Waning gibbous, turn inwards. So waning, going inwards. Third quarter, release and let go. Waning crescent, surrender. New moon, new beginnings. It's time.
I love that. That's what I was talking about. I knew that had to be out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat if anybody wants to grab it. That's a long link. I don't know if you guys can snip it off there. Yeah, it split it up. So just Google moon phase meanings infographic and it should pop up.
Good information. But that's what I was thinking, that's the information that I tap into and can see, and like, we'll try and get aligned with it. Do I do it every single month? I mean, no, I'm human. Like my humanness takes over and forgets and, whatever. And then I just get back on board whenever, even if it's not even happening. Well, I missed it. Okay. Well, I'm going to tap in. Like, so it's like they're giving yourself the flexibility and the room to discover what the moon feels like and looks like for you. Maybe you never even thought about the moon up until right now. Maybe you never even were open to like thinking that the moon affected you. Like, I mean, that was okay. Like, I mean, it's all an opportunity to be able to see. Maybe the moon is going to become a new tool that you put in your toolbox. I know it's in my toolbox. So it's like, what are these things? And again, I think the other thing that I really enjoy about it is it's being provided from me from the universe, and I don't have to offer any monetary exchange. So I don't have to set up an appointment with the moon. I don't have to, like, it's on my time frame, which I really enjoy. I like the flexibility of being able to figure that out. And I enjoy all the information from all the different spiritual leaders to the spiritual people out there that have these connections to the moon, to my very bestie here who, like, I mean, please, she could give me more information and teach my brain, right? Like, it's like, so I gather all that, but half the time when she says something to me, I don't remember. I'm just like, oh, usually it's confirmation. Oh, that's what I was thinking, but I don't articulate that way, or I didn't research, I didn't really, it's more of like confirmation for myself that I was on the right path for myself as far as how I was learning what was making sense to me. And now there's like scientific facts that are proving like whatever that may be. So again, it's your own process. And so maybe, just maybe, you want to, adventure with a relationship with the moon and see what might take place, what might transpire with this new relationship with the feminine.
Exactly. And I want to get to a couple of comments, and I want to talk about something you just said. But Lily said, she's quoting from earlier, do what feels right to you in terms of ritual or intention or prayer. And I want to talk about rituals and the moon. And she also played the moon explanation. So you're welcome, Lily. So I want to talk about rituals. And I want to say that today is the first day, or today's Passover in the Jewish religion, on the full moon after the spring equinox. So I just want to point that out. Religions, groups of people, communities of people, ethnic groups, all through history, we have looked at the moon and the stars to base our rituals around. And Easter's this coming weekend. Jesus came to Passover on the donkey, and it was Palm Sunday or something, and then Passover, and then he was there, and all of that stuff kind of coincided with the full moon, because Passover's on the first full moon after the spring equinox. So
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Like, I did not know that as a fact, like you just said. And it's like,
it's all based on the moon. Yeah.
I never knew that.
The equinoxes, the solstices, the moon, almost all of the major religions have basis in astrology. And I will tell you this, I worked in Catholic schools for 20 years, and I taught astronomy there. And I learned from the priests and monks that I worked with that all priests and monks have to take astronomy classes before they become a priest or a monk. Now, that may have gone away now in more modern times, but all the ones I worked with, 15, 20 years ago, all had to take astronomy because it's about the heavens. And because so many religious rituals occur around astrological things like full moons, new moons, solstices, equinoxes. If you're really into that kind of stuff, look up archaeoastronomy. That's the ancient, that's the study of archaeology and ancient astronomy through the world. And that's pretty incredible. That's pretty incredible. It's a wonderful science that I didn't learn about until. So it combines like the Sphinx points to a certain place in the
I love that.
In the pyramids point to a certain place. Like all these, the Stonehenge, there's certain alignments with Stonehenge. So
I love learning about that stuff. Just like I love learning about astrology for my own self with the rising and it's like there's a lot to do of, again, not taking like being like, oh, that's me completely, but like it helped me to understand myself, being like, oh, I definitely resonate with this particular sign and this time and these things happening. It helps to just bring me some clarity, personal clarity.
Right. And it's all about personal clarity when it comes down to it. Right. And as we're, wrapping up the last couple of minutes here, any tool you can put in your toolbox to help you get through the day and get through this world. If it's the moon phases, great. That's amazing. If it's, whatever crystals, if it's teddy bears, whatever it is for you that helps you get through the day and brings you that energy of, okay, I'm on the right track.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm taking 5 steps forward. I may take 3.5 steps back, but at least when you minus it, you still took 1.5 steps forward, right? Like, at least we're moving forward. Even if you take 10 steps back, as long as the next day you can inch yourself a little forward, it's all about what works for you and getting through this life together with joy, with love, with creating a community that supports you and doesn't cross your boundaries. Vivian said, I love learning about those ancient civilizations, and we think current humans are smart, right? Exactly. Homo sapiens, which is what we are, have been Homo sapiens for about 250 to 300,000 years. And there's nothing that will ever convince me that we were just wandering around the earth with these brains that we have for that long. And then, 5,000 years ago wrote the Bible, right? Like that doesn't, we didn't have, you could take a Homo sapiens that was born 300,000 years ago and clone it and raise it as a modern human because they are modern humans. They're the same. So anyway.
Anywho, I'm sure we could keep like all of it. We could go off on side note tangents. I had so many questions and I'm like, okay, keep on focus. But you brought up such good stuff.
I have a great question. I don't have the answer to that question, Alma, and we are wrapping up, but you feel free to send me an email, peacefulnickthemedium@gmail.com, and I will answer you there. It's a great question. And I don't have that offhand. I don't have that information offhand. I'll have to look into it. Thank you, everyone. Watch the launch on TV, the moon launch scheduled for 6:44 or 6:34 Eastern today, 3:44 Pacific. If you can watch it online, that would be great. I will be out front of my house watching it. So excited. I will be posting videos, obviously. So if all goes well, watch the launch. I love you, Aunt Jen. Love to everyone. Find joy, manifest your dreams. Don't play too many tricks on your loved ones today. And happy April Fool's Day.
Happy full moon.
Happy full moon. Bye, everybody.